As of this writing, toy giant Hasbro is trending on social media, but not for the reason I hoped. As usual, it's all about selling their newest additions from the popular g.i.joe classified line, as well as Transformers and the Marvel and Star Wars figures respectively, during a showcase for this year's San Diego Comic-Con. While that's encouraging news for die-hard fans and collectors, it's disheartening to know that after all those years, there were still no further movie adaptation efforts from the company's own intellectual properties as planned since 2015. While the recent Transformers Rise of the Beast hinted of a potential crossover between the robots in disguise and our real American heroes at the end of the sequel, it only serves as a teaser until Hasbro/Paramount comes through to establish their own cinematic universe. Now let's go back 10 years around September, where I published my first article at the now defunct site talkbacker.com. The subject happened to be obscure toys that would make great films. Among my suggestions on the list were the Inhumanoids, Visionaries, the Micronauts, Super Joe, M.A.S.K, and Rom the Space Knight, all now owned by Hasbro. 2 years later from my published article, there was news that Hasbro plans to start their own in-house films based on the newly acquired properties, i.e. Micronauts and Rom, that were previously owned by toy rival Mego Corp and Parker Brothers respectively. Movie producer Lorenzo Di Bonaventura created a writer's room with scripted and idealists conjure new items and story elements based on Visionaries, Micronauts, M.A.S.K, and Rom the Space Knight. Instead of getting to work on these projects, the films that came out were Transformers Battleship, Transformers Dungeons & Dragons, one lame g.i.joe spin-off, and more Transformers. Now, as of 2021, the writer's room has been disbanded, and Hasbro's well-intended shared universe plans have been put on hold indefinitely. So after many years, what we have got to show for it, Di Bonaventura's efforts? Nothing really. As for the toys themselves, after SDCC in 2017, Hasbro unveiled a special collector's box set with 3-inch scale versions of Rom, Matt Tracker, and one of the Spectral Knights from the Visionaries, along with some tiny Micronaut figurines for the IDW Evolution comic series, which in itself was the shared universe of Hasbro. But other than that, nothing came out from these IPs. In a world oversaturated with superhero movies and shows, it would be a refresher to include niche science fiction licensed properties make their rounds in live action cinema or other mediums. The fact that Hasbro is sitting on a gold mine of these intellectual properties and not making big strides to push them into other mediums besides comic books is a wasted effort, if not a travesty. Transformers, G.I. Joe, and My Little Pony can't pay the bills all the time. Or can they?